listening to Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth on AFR Talk.
Welcome back. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. So, you get a press pass for tomorrow's press conference with the president, and you are going to have an opportunity to ask a question, maybe even a follow-up. Because just asking the question, I mean, you're like Jay Leno. You could say anything. You're just not going to be the follow-up, and you're not going to – journalists are supposed to follow up and have the facts and evaluate the answer and say, wait a second, hold on. That's not congruent with the facts. You're leaving something out. I think we've all felt, as Americans, looking at our president, President Obama, betrayed when it comes to Benghazi. Now, there are those, again, who will just knee-jerk respond and say, no scandal, no scandal. And these are the people that, unfortunately, are willing to be lied to by their president because they embrace the policies of the president. And it goes to a point that I heard once. It was a very good point. The person was asking, do you want somebody who's loyal to you or, in essence, loyal to God, loyal to Christ, and honoring those systems? And so many people would say, I want somebody loyal to me. I want somebody, loyalty, especially if you're running for office. Oh, yeah. Right or wrong, I want to. And unfortunately, that is, remember, our fallen nature. That's what we're looking for at times. And he was showing how that lets you down in so many ways, that you want somebody with values and who's willing to defend their convictions. And it is something that I think as American citizens, we have to look at whether it's a conservative or a liberal. If somebody is outside the law or the truth, they should be held to account. We should trust that enough. So with the president, what question would you ask? 1-888-589-8840, 1-888-589-8840. Outbreaks of journalism at CNN. Here is part of their Benghazi special, and referencing that there are a lot of questions out there on the response time and so much more. Roll it.
The United States military, as I've said, is not and frankly should not be a 911 service.
There's some places on the planet where we have some gaps, and I think North Africa is probably one of them.
General Dempsey.
To Congressman Adam Smith, the top Democrat on the House Armed Services Committee, case closed.
The bottom line is there was not a force available that could get there in time, and that has been clearly and unequivocally established and answered over and over again.
Republican Jason Chaffetz begs to differ.
There in northern Libya, right there on the coast, that we couldn't get U.S. military there for 24 hours. That's embarrassing if it's true. But I really question whether or not that's the actual truth.
So essentially you're saying General Dempsey, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the highest ranking uniformed officer in the United States of America, isn't telling the truth?
I think there are other assets and other things that could have been put into motion. That cavalry never comes over the hill to help. That's just stunning to me.
So there's been one criminal indictment and charge, but they have not been able to get that man. We'll bring you more details on that tomorrow with a complete segment dedicated to Benghazi and the update, the weekly update. And remember, Buzz Jacobs will be with us next week regarding Benghazi 9/11 and the truth. We now go to Tellez, and from the great state of Louisiana, the question for you is, what is your question for the president tomorrow at the press conference? Go ahead. Tellez?
Tellez?
Yes, sir.
Tellez Smith?
Yes, sir.
It would just be how he would rate himself and Michelle compared to Ahab and Jezebel. And that's basically it.
All right. And let's go to Buddy. Buddy from Texas. What are you asking the president tomorrow, buddy?
The first thing I would do is walk in with two Bibles, and I would set one Bible in my hand and the Quran in the other. Excuse for calling that stupid thing a Bible. And I would say, which one would you burn if didn't have no avail to you?
Interesting. And going along those lines of, it is. I mean, you're discussing we know them by their fruits and making that judgment. When the president claims to be a Christian, I will say that is what he has claimed to be, and so be it. When I say so be it, I will also look at the fruits of that policy, and certainly I have questions. But again, that's between the president and God, and he has said that he is a Christian. And I just wish that he would look at the greatest persecution that's taking place in the world right now, and it is of Christians in the Middle East, specifically the Arab Muslim world. And unfortunately, what really gets me is we don't hear the president doing that. Plus, we have an administration whose policies go and ask us to violate our faith. And so we look at that with the HHS mandate, and we were also told that money would not go to fund abortion, etc. Anyway, some questions there, certainly. And unfortunately, we are out of time for the questions. Next time we will obviously make some more room, and we'll be covering, and we'll have your highlights from that press conference tomorrow right here on Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. Now, something to consider tomorrow as you're evaluating and grading the press. I invite you to do that. That's actually going to be one of the questions I'm going to ask you before the press conference. You'll have an opportunity to respond to that after the press conference. Grade the press on their questions. Are they doing their job? I talk a lot about the press because one of the things I do is the how and the why, explaining how something works, why we need to change it, and how we're going to change it, and also break down the political narrative, oftentimes a false narrative. That's why it's called Nothing But Truth. Check out the Facebook page. Appreciate each and every one of you. Live with honor in your life, compassion in your heart, and always, always keep the faith in Jesus Christ. I want to thank Jerry Boyer, Carol Bruin, and Aaron Free, as well as my team of Brent, Jeremy, and Cedra. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, AFR Talk.